Good morning. You must be muted.
Nice to meet you, Kylie.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, welcome. Hope everyone's woken up for wishes, or if you're not woken up yet, you're gonna get waken up, woken up right now, or wake up for wishes. We're gonna get started in just a second. Thanks for joining us. We'll kind of give it 1 minute for all folks to get on, and then we'll get started. Okay, perfect. So let's get rolling. I want to, in the interest of time, I want to get started. And for those who are still joining us, they can jump in when they jump in. Welcome to our first virtual, this is a fun world, our first virtual Wake Up for Wishes. Really excited to have you here this morning. We're going to kickstart things. You're in for a real treat. We have some wish stories to share with you. We have information about Make-A-Wish. We have our board leaders joining us today, Adam Losey and Alan Sanson, who you see on screen. And I'm going to be a little bit of your host this morning. My name is Ann Cuba. I'm the president and CEO of Make-A-Wish Central and Northern Florida. And we're really excited to share with you a little bit more about Make-A-Wish for those of you who might not have been involved with our organization before. Many of you may have been for several years now. So welcome to this. And if you haven't been involved, I hope you're able to take some takeaways today. And we hope that you'll find some things that can get you more engaged with our organization from here. But first, I'm going to start us off with a really quick video. It's called Hope is Essential. It's about two minutes long, and it really highlights the reason why Make-A-Wish is here. And so one of the things that we like to say is, what would you do for a child that you loved? And really the answer to that question is really, I think we could all say anything, that we would do anything for a child whom we loved. And that's where Make-A-Wish comes in. Make-A-Wish comes in to do something spectacular and really provide hope and joy and strength to our kids who are battling critical illnesses. And hope is essential, especially right now in the times that we're living in. So with that, I'll kick it off and we'll watch our Hope is Essential video.
Before we start the video, we just want to let everyone know that we are recording this presentation today. We just want to ensure that we're able to share it with anyone else that is interested.
Your wish to have a gaming computer was granted?
What do you think?
Firemen are dropping a package from way up high.
So our mission, simply put, is together we create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. And it's as simple as that. We stand for hope, we stand for joy, and we stand for strength for kids who have been diagnosed with a critical illness between the ages of 2.5 and 18 years old. And it's really during a time where they're going through medical treatments, hospital visits, really truly an uncertainty of what tomorrow might bring, is where Make-A-Wish steps in. So how did this all begin? It all began with one wish. It all began with a boy by the name of Chris Gracious. He was battling leukemia in 1980, and he had a simple wish. He had always wanted to be a police officer. And so when the local community, of course, Make-A-Wish wasn't in existence then, but the local community heard that he would love to be a police officer, and they all got together. Again, it's the power of a community, and we're going to talk about this more and more this morning, but the power of community, these volunteers got together, the police department got together, neighbors, the entire community came together to be able to give Chris that joy of being a police officer. And so he was sworn in as the first ever honorary patrolman in Arizona. This all happened in Phoenix. And from there is where Make-A-Wish began. Unfortunately, Chris, at that time was very sick, and 3 days after his wish was granted, he did pass away. But his legacy continues, and the volunteers that served and helped Chris, they thought about it and they said more kids are out there, and they didn't stop with Chris, and they thought, how do we do this? How can we provide this joy and this hope to other kids? And that's how it all began. So Chris has a legacy today of us being the largest wish granting organization in the world. We truly have a worldwide impact. Nationally, we have 59 chapters across the United States. We just granted over 500,000 wishes. So we just in September granted our 500,000th wish and counting, because more have been granted since then. And as I mentioned, we serve 59 chapters across the nation. In Florida, we are the Central and Northern Florida chapter. So if we go back, we can see the map, that you can see the land that we cover. We're a large territory. But one of the misconceptions sometimes about Make-A-Wish is that we are this nationwide organization and there's not a local community impact. And yes, although we are national, we are our own 501c3 locally, and we serve our local kids. So all the money that we raise stays in our local chapter to grant wishes in our own backyards. And so as you can see there, we cover 45 counties. We started in 1994. Fun fact, our first wish was to meet Dolly Parton. And so from there, we've granted over 6,000 wishes since our inception. A couple statistics about Make-A-Wish is, on average, the average cost of a wish is about $8,000. And that's kind of, on average. One of the misconceptions is that most wishes are paid for by the companies who, for instance, if there's a wish to go to Disney, that Disney covers the expenses for all wishes. And that's not necessarily the case. We obviously have awesome partnerships with companies like Disney, but we are paying for the entire wish, and it's covered the entire family. So one of the important things from Make-A-Wish standpoint is that we make sure that the entire family and siblings who live in the household are all part of the wish experience. And the reason for this is the entire family is going through this illness when a child is diagnosed. And so it's really important that we include the entire family in the process. And so on average, the cost is $8,000. We grant about 250 wishes annually. However, we have a great need and a critical need. We currently have 550 children waiting on a wish in our chapter. And so you can see there's a gap there between the number of wishes that we could potentially grant and the number of wishes that we are granting. And the reason for that is funding. And we need the funding to be able to ensure that the kids who are waiting on a wish can receive one. One of the stats that I always like to share is that, you know, why is a wish important? And it's not only important from that hope perspective, but medically speaking, we hear from doctors and medical professionals all the time that they say that they use a wish as a part of the medical treatment, as a part of the process when the child is diagnosed and when they're going through the medicine piece. Of course, that medicine piece is really important, but that mental spirit is also very important. And so 89% of health professionals surveyed say that they believe that a wish experience can influence a child's physical health. And that statistic is huge because it shows you, and we hear from families many times, that a wish is part of the hope of that wish is the anticipation of the wish coming true, and how kids will start to take their medicine again and start to do physical therapy if that's required of their illness, because they want to get in great shape for their wish coming true. And so it truly is not only the medicine piece, but the Make-A-Wish piece is part of the treatment process as well. So let's talk about the Northwest, because that's what we're here to really focus in on. We serve 18 counties in the Northwest area. So Panhandle, Pensacola, Tallahassee, and then all the counties surrounding that. We have been a part of our chapter since our inception, so since 1994. We've granted wishes there since 1994. On average, about 40 wishes are granted in the local community there annually. And those are wishes right there in your backyards. Right now, we're currently raising approximately $70,000 in the area. But to really be able to grant the amount of wishes that we see for the kids that are referred to our organization, to fully fund those wishes, we would need to be raising approximately $340,000. So there you can see a gap too between what the need is and what we're currently able to serve. A couple of wishes that I wanted to highlight that have specifically taken place in this area is our wish child Iris. Iris had a wish to see snow. Of course, being from Florida, you've got to think a lot of our Floridian children haven't seen snow yet. And so sweet Iris, who was diagnosed with a brain tumor, she and her whole family, you can see her sisters there and her brother, they went to Vermont and had an amazing experience last year. This was obviously pre-COVID. So they went to Vermont and they threw snowballs, made snow angels, and the entire family had an amazing time. Another wish is an above ground pool wish. And so Make-A-Wish, this is one of our examples of the wishes that we grant. And Jason, who's 10 years old, he loves to swim. And so he received an above ground pool last year. And you can see how he has his little wetsuit there as well. And so that's another example of a wish that we granted right there in the backyards. Jason had a kidney transplant. So where does our funding come from? This is a question that we get a lot from donors or from community leaders. We do not receive any government funding. So we rely completely on the public support, completely on our local communities, whether that's companies, from large businesses to small businesses. And we're going to show you how everyone can make such a big impact, whether it's small or large or anywhere in between. Individuals, the local community coming together to put fundraisers on, events on. We do our own internal events when we can do those pre-COVID, and in various capacities. So there you can kind of see the breakdown. I won't go through all the percentages, but that's where our funding comes from. And then where does it go to? So another important question, that the majority of our funding goes to wish granting. And so that is the number one thing that we do, is we grant wishes. And so For the money that we receive, approximately 75% goes towards our program efforts and goes towards granting wishes. So one of the benefits of partnering with Make-A-Wish, and we always like to share this because most people have heard of Make-A-Wish, and we have a phenomenal brand. And so we like to share this with not only individuals and companies, but for people to be aware of what it means to partner with Make-A-Wish and the power of Make-A-Wish and the power of partnering with a brand. And so this was a study that was done in the Harris poll in 2019, and basically talked about how individuals feel when they purchase something from a company who partners with an organization like Make-A-Wish. And you can see those stats there, that people think more positively of a company when they partner with Make-A-Wish. Employees feel more positive about their company. They feel more engaged about their company when they know that they're supporting Make-A-Wish. And so it's a good thing all around. For not only the company's brand, but also the employee engagement piece, to be able to partner with Make-A-Wish in some capacity. So let's talk about COVID-19 and the impact that that's been had. You obviously saw some of the wishes that were granted during the Hope is Essential video, but we've been significantly impacted as an organization over the last 6 to 7 months. Most of our wishes pre-COVID involved some form of travel or large group gatherings. So we were granting wishes all around the country for kids to travel to destinations like Iris's Snow Wish, destinations like going to Hawaii to see a volcano, swim with dolphins, international wishes. And in March, all of that had to be postponed. And so we've had over 90 wishes locally within our chapter that had to be postponed between March and August. And we've been impacted on a fundraising level as well. We had to move some of our biggest fundraisers to a virtual capacity, or in some cases actually having to cancel those events as well. So that has impacted our fundraising capabilities over the last 6 to 7 months. And then across the really Make-A-Wish enterprise, over 5,000 kids have been impacted by their wish not being able to be granted during this time or being postponed because of COVID-19. But that doesn't mean that we aren't going to grant them, because a wish is not canceled, they're postponed. And so I'd love to share what we have been able to do during this time. As I mentioned, locally, 90 wishes have been rescheduled for our chapter. But during this time period too, wishes have continued to happen. We haven't stopped. I'm very proud that we've been able to continue our mission, even in the midst of this medical crisis. We've granted 60 wishes between March and August. And so we quickly pivoted and we figured, how do we get to a child where they need their wish the most? And this time is now. They can't wait. Our children are no strangers to isolation or anything when it comes to this current time period. They are used to being isolated a lot of the times from their family and friends. So how can we get to them right now? So some of the examples of the wishes that we have been able to grant include shopping sprees, virtual celebrity visits, gaming computers, room redos. And you can see there in that picture, that was Emily's wish day, and she actually had a room redo granted. And then we'll give a couple other examples of the wishes that we've been able to grant during this time in the next slides here. But one of the things that we've always also focused on is our outreach to our families. And so how can we provide them that words of encouragement, where when their wish has been postponed, there's obviously disappointment that comes in there. So we've worked on messages of hope that we've sent to our families. We've had our partners send messages of hope. So just another way that we've been able to touch people during this time. And again, wishes are happening. So I'll go through these really quickly because we've got other things to get to as well. But shopping spree example. So we bring if the kids can't go out to the store, we bring all their wish list items to them at their house and make it special. This is the Make-A-Wish way. And so twin boys, 16-year-old young men, I should say, Jaleel and Jabari, received their wish this past summer for many, many goodies. So you can see the smile on their faces, and you can see all the goodies that they received on their wish day. Playset wishes have been really popular during this time period too. And so Joey received his playset wish, and his mom said that he's already learning how to swing. He's using it a lot. You can see he's got his own little sign there that said Joey's playset. So he's been able to enjoy that during this time period too. And then beach vacations. And so we've been able to pivot and do a lot of staycation in a safe way. So we always get medical approval for these types of local travel wishes. And so here is Janelle, who went to the beach. And look at those little snowmen, those sand snowmen that he built. So cute. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Adam, who's our vice chair and incoming board chair for next year on our board of directors. And I'll kick it over to him.
Well, thanks very much, everybody, for taking the time to attend. And I got involved with Make-A-Wish in a way similar to this. I had a friend that was involved on the board and started talking to me about it. Went to one event. I actually kind of forget the first event I went to. Part of the interesting thing about Make-A-Wish is I've always kind of known what they did generally, but a really nice thing about the organization is once you actually start paying a little more attention and going to events like this and getting involved, you kind of get drawn deeper in. I still remember being in an airport back when people went to airports people still do go to airports, but back when I used to go to a lot more airports for things, there was a Wish family coming back from Phoenix when I was in Phoenix in the terminal, and Make-A-Wish there had all kinds of decorations and everything associated with the kid and his family. And, I walked up to him and just said, congratulations, and wound up talking to the kid and their parents for quite some time. Just about the organization and how happy they were. And it's kind of, not to be depressing about COVID era, but it's a dark time right now for a lot of people. And the interesting thing about it is for a lot of these kids, they say a sick person has one wish, a healthy person has 1,000. If you're a sick child, it's very, very tough to have hope and to get up every day and to just do things. And I think a lot of us now who may have the good fortune to be healthy right now are feeling some of that, feeling some of being isolated in your home, feeling some of those other things, not even really a fraction of what a lot of these kids go through. And it kind of helps you realize personally why what Make-A-Wish does is so important, and why having some hope, it's more than just one day. It's not just, one day you get one thing that it really gives them a reason to wake up in the morning. I don't think we're going to go too much into it in this presentation, but it actually improves medical outcomes. There have been some studies that have shown that it really helps kids, and it helps the families too, because it's very, very difficult to be dealing with this in a family, and to be supportive and to be, strong as the parent too. So Make-A-Wish does so many good things that you can feel good about in a time in which I think it's important to try and have some things to feel good about. And we would really welcome everybody that is attending today. And we'll talk more later about some specific opportunities to get involved in the organization, because I think you'll find it's not only good for the kids in the organization, but it'll be good for you. I know I've gotten a lot out of it personally. And then this is a perfect time to introduce a Wish family. Helen's 5 years old, and she suffers from a cardiac condition. She wished to meet Kelsey Ballerini. And I am so out of touch. I'm not even sure who Kelsey Ballerini is, but it looks very cool. And Helen and her mom, Tanya, are here to share their story today. So thank you very much for being here. And please proceed.
Hey, Tanya, are you there? You might have to unmute yourself, or maybe I can unmute you.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can get our camera to work real quick. It wouldn't work on my computer, so my phone is acting a little wonky. Let me see real quick here. I don't know why it's not working. It always seems to work any other time.
Well, while you're getting it working, I'll buy you a second here. I actually Googled Kelsey Ballerini, and looks like some excellent music. So you've at least created more awareness of her, and I promise you today I will listen to one of her songs. So. 4 #1 singles too.
Wow.
Okay, I think we're here now. Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you see us?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so sorry. We can't see ourselves, so I wasn't sure. So my name is Tanya, and this is my daughter, Holland. Can you tell them hi?
Hi.
Hi.
And Holland is 8 now, so she had her wish a week before she was. Okay, so when Holland was born, Holland was just born with half of her heart. And so she was hypoplastic right heart syndrome, and she had 5 congenital heart defects. She had aortation of the aorta, transposition of the great arteries, and she was given hypoplastic right heart syndrome, tricuspid atresia, you name it. And they said that was what was wrong. And they gave her a 1% chance of surviving. She's gone through 4 open heart surgeries.
Can I show them?
Yeah, just a minute. She's gone through 4 open heart surgeries now, and has landed herself with a pacemaker. After her Fontan surgery, she went into sick sinus syndrome and got on a pacemaker. After the pacemaker, after one of Holland's surgeries as a baby, she had 11 different types of surgeries, including a stomach and a throat surgery. But she was on ECMO, and which was the life support machine. And while she was on that, she had a pretty massive brain bleed. And, after she was about a year old, we didn't really see too many issues from the bleed until she was 4. And after she had her pacemaker, she started having deadly type seizures. They would happen in her sleep. We've had 28 of them now, and they've all required emergency oxygen. They've required
IVs.
lots of IVs. Yeah. It just tons of ambulance rides. She's had an airplane life flight ride in the midst of it. So after her pacemaker, and after we started having these awful seizures, she spent so much time in the hospital that she would just get on her iPad, and she started watching Kelsey when Kelsey was Disney's next big thing, before Kelsey was really a big country music star. And she started watching her on YouTube, and Holland loves music. And she just fell in love with her music. She fell in love with her. And we have so many pictures of Holland in the hospital watching her iPad of Kelsey, and it would help her get through those days in the hospital. So when the doctors asked her if she wanted to apply for Make-A-Wish, and Holland told them that she wanted to meet Kelsey Ballerini. So do you want to tell them a little bit about your wish?
Yes. So we ride in a limo, and I got scared.
She didn't like the limo too much, but once we got there,
Also,
you want to make, she made a little book for y'all, and I don't know if you can see it because I can't see us, but
Yes.
so we got to meet Kelsey first in a in a small setting. And so Holland actually got to go on stage with her during her meet and greet. And Holland took her little ukulele, and they sang a song together, a cappella, and they got to spend a lot of time backstage together.
And I had lunch with French fries.
And so
So
Kelsey asked her, she was like, well, Holland, do you want to go on the big stage with me? And, you know, we weren't prepared for that. We didn't know she was really going to get to do that. And so Holland was like, yeah, she didn't bother her. It didn't scare her. And she went right on stage in front of 19,000 people. Lady Antebellum was playing, and Kelsey was opening for Lady Antebellum at the time. And so we got to meet a lot of country music stars that night. And she went on stage and she started singing dibs with her like she had done it her whole life. We brought her little hat that she had.
can y'all see me?
Yeah, we can.
So one thing that, you know, speaking of what the wish does for the child, as far as the healing process goes, that could be no more truer, because since then, Holland, you know, has, like I said, she's had 28 ambulance rides since that Make-A-Wish alone. And I can assure you that every nurse, every EMT, every doctor has heard about Holland's Make-A-Wish. Every time they're putting her IV in and Holland gets nervous or scared, or every time they're doing something to her, she literally starts telling them about her Make-A-Wish. She says, I sang on the stage with Kelsey Ballerini. And then she starts singing for them, and she starts singing them songs. And it's just a way for Holland to be able to overcome every hospital trip, every doctor's visit. We went to the dermatologist yesterday.
And I cried when I get IVs in
Yeah.
the ambulance.
But we went to the dermatologist yesterday, and she just started telling him about her Make-A-Wish. When she gets nervous, she literally starts talking about meeting Kelsey. And you know, not only what that did for Holland, but we had people reach out to us for months and months, and even years now. It's been 3-4 years since we've had her wish, and people are still reaching out to us that were at that concert that night, you know, telling us what Holland's wish.
Hey, I'm showing her.
Telling us what Holland's wish did for them. What she wants to show you is, these are some of the people that we met at the wish. And
will my wish come
and
true?
They've actually, one lady had cancer, and she had 3 children, and she come up to us and she said, Holland,
you didn't show them the whole book.
She said, Holland, you going on stage and doing what you just did gave me so much hope. And she said, I'm passing away with cancer, and it just really brought so much joy to me. So we continued to be friends with this lady, and she did pass away. But right before she passed away, she made Holland a beautiful little pillowcase and sent it to her. So we have a treasure, you know, also from that night, that not only touched Holland.
Did her kids die?
No, they're still there. But it touched other people in that audience. And so Holland's Make-A-Wish not only helped her, but it helped other people as well.
Why I got IVs?
When
I was scared.
Yeah. Do you want to tell them what you sang?
Yes. I sang to Diaz, and I went on the stage with Kelsey. And
what else did you sing?
And I ate lunch.
Yeah, boy.
And we ate lunch.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
With Kelsey.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and we're glad that, you know, it has impacted your family in such a positive way, and we encourage you to stay in touch and keep sharing how great you're doing.
So we will.
We will.
Bye, Holland. Thank you.
Bye.
I guess you guys are throwing it over to me. My name is Alan Sansel, and a lot of people ask, you know, why do you get involved? And one thing that you can say is Holland's family is just one of very many that you can affect. If you can support a child, You can support parents, you can support your community. Why wouldn't you want to get behind it? To give you one example, I'm from Pensacola. My parents actually live in Pensacola now, same with a lot of my sisters. There's Andrea. Andrea, this wish really hit home to me. I have a daughter and I'm one of four and only boy. And her wish was to be a princess. She wanted to feel just as good on the outside as she felt on the inside. So my family got involved. My parents helped her with her wish. And that's just one example of how you can affect your community from Northwest Florida. There's some other examples. I know the Chi Omega from Florida State, they do an annual Creole cookout. If you're not familiar with Chi Omega, they're the biggest fraternal women's organization. And to date, they've raised over $150,000. So that's a lot. There's also DNR Lounge, which actually is in Bellevue, Florida. If you're not familiar with Bellevue, it's just north of Pensacola. And they're a prime example to show no matter how big or how small you are, you can do your part. They do an annual poker run every year, and they've raised over $200,000. This little tiny bar in this little town is doing their part in order to help families like Andrea and Holland. So that's so exciting. And then on the flip side, you have Macy's. Macy's goes above and beyond every year. And I think they've donated over $10 million in just 2019. And they do fun things like their Believe bracelet, which $2 of every $4 bracelet goes to them. They also do and go above and beyond with wishes, and Elizabeth, one of the Wish kids, designed a dress with the Macy's fashion office, and online you can purchase it from October 26th to December 31st. And all those proceeds will go to Make-A-Wish. So it's just amazing. No matter who you are, no matter where you're at, you can help your community, you can help a child. And these are just some of the partners in Northwest Florida that are there doing their part and really making a difference. One thing that we've learned is, the most valuable thing that you have is time. So thank you so much for being part of this, but we're so excited to do and work with each one of you. So thank you. So I have the opportunity to introduce Kylie. She works with Make-A-Wish, but also she's a wish child. So Kylie, the floor is yours.
Thanks. So I just want to thank everyone for coming today. It's really important for us just to share, now that we're in more of a virtual world, that we can really introduce more about Make-A-Wish and inform everyone in the Northwest region of what we're trying to accomplish and how we're trying to grant more wishes in that area as well. So I am the philanthropy officer. So I'm going to be working with a lot of individuals in the Northwest, just like DNR Lounge, to ensure that we really get the support in that area. And so I will be the main person communicating with everyone in that area. But I think it's also very special that I was a Wish kid. So here are some of my photos. So I'm originally from Central Pennsylvania. And of course, my wish was to go to Disney World since I had never been. So I have cystic fibrosis. That's something that never goes away and is always here. So I constantly have my own battles, but I'm really excited to be working for Make-A-Wish and be able to share my story specifically with donors, community members, just everyone, to know that not all wishes can end in a bad way. And just like Holland, she's continuously fighting every single day, and she beat that 1% chance. So just like, I am so thankful for my wish, and I can say that since my wish, statistically, a lot of kids that have cystic fibrosis are hospitalized multiple times a year, but I have not been hospitalized for anything CF related since my wish. So that now I'm much older than 8 years old. So I can say that that's been really impactful. And I can say it was a moment for my family to just focus on being a family and focus on having fun and not thinking about the next doctor's appointment or the next procedure or something that I would have to go through. So sharing my story is really important to let everyone know that by affecting a child in such a magical way, that they can overcome anything. So I'm going to kick it back over here to Anne, and she just wants to go over some great opportunities for involvement.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks so much. It's so awesome to hear your story. I've heard it a couple of times and it doesn't get old. So thanks for sharing with everyone. And thank you to Tanya and Holland for sharing your story as well. I'm actually, we wanted to go through several opportunities to get involved so that you can see how, where do we go from here, and how, if something has struck you today and you want to get more involved, how can you do that? So we have several different initiatives that I'd love to talk through. Adam, I don't know if, do you want to maybe kick us off with a circle of hope and talk through?
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you attending, again, anybody at any level can really help if you want. Alan gave a great example of a small business. I run a small business. If you happen to run Microsoft, if Bill Gates is attending too, he can also help, and I think does. But you don't have to be Bill Gates to help out the organization. And I kind of want to emphasize that, because it takes a lot of time, talent, and treasure to make these happen for kids, but every little iota of help counts. And nobody should ever really feel, well, I'm not Bill Gates, so I can't really help the organization. There's a lot of ways to get involved. And we've come up with a number of ways that are structured, that are very easy to say, okay, look, here's this. And then there's other ways to get involved. If you really want to help and you want to put your heart and soul into helping the organization, you just let us know. I guarantee you we'll figure out something that we can use help with, whether it's from helping cards for kids or helping us find businesses to help. So starting with the Circle of Hope, let me see if the slide's up. There we go. Being part of the Circle of Hope, the idea is it provides you the opportunity to directly support making wishes come true, because they do cost a lot of money. Time, talent, treasure. I mean, we've had, without getting too much into details, some really interesting wishes that range from hypoallergenic service dogs that are surprisingly difficult to get. You would be very surprised how difficult it is to find one. To travel wishes, to right now where we are, I think scrambling a little bit in a controlled way to try and figure out a way to help meet kids' needs in an environment that's very different than it was before in terms of their ability to travel safely. So the idea of the Circle for Hope is, by intending to give over 3 years, you'd allow us to apply funds where they're needed most, help ensure the wish kids and their families are still able to get these wishes today and tomorrow, no matter what's around the corner in terms of where society's going and what public health is like. So all the levels of it include unique member benefits. And the idea when we came up with this program really was to help us make sure that we have stable individual support. And frankly, for us, part of this came from my idea, because we budget in my family for philanthropy. If I could afford to spend $10,000 annually on every charity in the world, I certainly would if I had that ability. But I run a small business, and Make-A-Wish, I wanted to make a priority and to set up recurring annual giving. And the idea of this is something where if this is an organization you really want to support and you're willing to do this, this is very helpful with budgeting too, for your individual family budget. And so the idea is, again, the benefits vary by level. There's different levels. We'd be happy to send you more materials about the different benefits, the different donor appreciation and cultivation events. But this is just one of the many options that we have to support the organization. The next one is the Families for Wishes campaign. And 2020 has been a year of change, a year of reflection and resilience, and finding new ways to connect, like Zoom. Typically we would be doing these in person, and I'd be up in North Florida visiting some family afterwards if I could. But now, it's Zoom and it's other methods, but what it always has revolved around is family. The one thing, for better or worse, and sometimes in the COVID era, is you spend a lot of time in your house with your family. I personally am quarantined. I am at the end of my 2-week quarantine after being exposed to somebody with COVID, and certainly every day, all day is family time. And there's a family you're born into and families that you choose. And I think Make-A-Wish, what we're trying to do, and what we already, I think, have done to a large extent, is to build a community and build a family of people that revolve around the charitable mission. including folks like Kylie who have, been through the process, know what it's like, and then come back to work on the organization, which is as great of a circle as you can ask. No better way to celebrate the holidays and to celebrate family than fundraising for Make-A-Wish. So we have an online campaign that starts on December 1st and runs through the end of the month, where you can create a peer-to-peer fundraising page and ask your friends and family to donate to make a difference. There's a lot of power behind this, particularly when a lot of people are spending a lot of time on social media because they're at home. So, even if you don't have a nickel to your name, if you have a Facebook account and some friends and you want to help try and raise some funds there, that tends to be quite effective. So by all means, reach out to the staff if you have any questions or need any assistance. The next is community and company fundraisers. And this is something that, I have some family in Tallahassee and go up there a lot. And I can't count to you how many, gosh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head some of the more fun ones, but oyster bakes at farms I've been to. My cousin does a pig roast every year. Chili cook-offs. I've been to a lot of chili cook-offs in North Florida. I think North and Northwest Florida have some of the best community involvement in these kinds of events that I've ever seen anywhere in the country. From the pig roast is actually on there, right? Potluck, barbecue. There's a lot that's done in North and Northwest Florida where we would love to see and to help facilitate community and company fundraisers. Maybe something you already do, if you're already doing a pig roast or something else, or you want to start doing some of those. And again, it can be vegetarian too. It doesn't have to be pig or barbecue. So it doesn't always have to involve meat if you don't want it to. But any kind of local events, I think, really mean a lot, not only to raising a couple bucks for the organization, but a big part of Make-A-Wish is what we're really trying hard to do today, which is talking to people about the organization and getting them involved. And, hopefully maybe post-vaccine soon, we'll see how that shakes out, but we'll have more opportunities to do these in-person fundraisers and events. And if you'd like to be a part of that, if you know one, you want to host one, one going on that doesn't really have a charity that it's tethered to, we would really like to hear from you. Then Kids for Wish Kids. So if you're a teacher, a student, or a parent of a student, Kids for Wish Kids is also a great way to get involved. It's a customizable youth fundraising program that engages kids from preschool through grade 12, youth groups, clubs, and organizations in the Make-A-Wish mission. And if you want more about that, we absolutely can get you that information. Then finally, the Fundraising and Advisory Council. So our goal is to form kind of an advisory council of about 10 to 15 folks to assist us in the outreach and fundraising efforts. As you heard earlier, we do a lot in Northwest Central Florida, and we want to be better about getting involvement from people in the community that we serve, because I think we're doing some great stuff. And I know the communities in North and Northwest Central Florida have a lot of heart. And I think we'll have, once we get the word out and we get enough people involved, we'll have a lot of deep involvement. It's just kind of tough to do now in the COVID area. And we really could use help. That's kind of part of why we had this today, is to ask for help from you. And the ideal candidates for this council would have a strong network in their respective communities, professional, personal, and want to use those connections to help spread the word and advance our mission. So, the council would partner with Kylie and other Make-A-Wish staff to develop and put in practice fundraising strategies in the 18 counties that we serve to be able to fund the 40 wishes that we grant on average. So we would hold meetings via Zoom. And the idea, to put it plain and simple, it's folks in the area that are connected or willing to, even if they're not, super well connected, if you're willing to reach out and connect with people up there, we're looking for help and people that want to put their time, talent, and treasure into the organization to the extent they can. So again, we thought really, really hard. Anne and Kylie have worked very, very hard on this presentation and on trying to figure out ways that we can get involved in North and Northwest Central Florida, or North and Northwest Florida. So hopefully one of these opportunities makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, and if you have an idea, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Anne's going to end our presentation with talking about how you can also help grant wishes today. Thank you, Anne.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks so much for going through all those opportunities and initiatives. And, you know, where do we go from here? So if there's something that strikes you, as Adam mentioned, we'd love to connect, and we're gonna follow up with you after today just to get your feedback. This is our first Wake Up for Wishes that we're doing, especially in a virtual capacity. So we'd love to get your feedback. You are a part of our Make-A-Wish family. Whether you've been a part of us before, you're now part of our family by joining us today. So we'd love to be able to chat with you and connect and get your feedback. So please look through some of the things that we will send some follow-up information afterwards, but look through some of the initiatives that we have and let us know if something interests you. So one thing that we say a lot is, where there's a wish, there's a way. And so, you know, day in, we stand by that. And so especially right now, where there's a wish, there's a way. We will find a way to do it. And that's where we need you. We need your time, we need your talent, we need your treasure to help us ensure that wherever there's a wish, there's a way for us to grant. And so whether it's in a big way, in a small way, you have the ability to make an impact in your local community, to really make a difference in a child and their family's life. And so regardless of your position, of your time, of your financial status, there's opportunities for you to make a difference in the community, and there's a way for you to move our mission forward so that we can grant all the children's wishes. And that's really our vision, to grant the wish of every eligible child. And of course, right there in your own backyards and in your communities. So as we end today, there's so much power in a community and how we're all connected and how we can all make a difference. And so we'd love to end today with this great video about how we're all stars in the bigger picture, and basically wishes need stars like you.
Cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart. Cause in a sky full of stars, I think I saw you.
For 40 years, you've helped Make-A-Wish make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Together, we've granted more than 500,000 wishes for children fighting critical illness. But we're not done. Help us make every wish come true.
Awesome. Well, on that note, thank you for your time this morning. We know that time is precious, and so oh, sorry, did I cut in too quickly?
No, you're
okay,
fine.
Good. Thank you for your time, and let us know if you have any feedback for us. We'll be in touch. We look forward to continuing the conversation. We just so appreciate all of you for attending and for your input. And so we look forward to continuing the conversations on how we can make more wishes come true in our 18 counties that we cover. And thank you to Holland and her mom for sharing her story. And thank you to Alan and Adam for joining us this morning, and Kylie and our whole team at Make-A-Wish. On behalf of all of our board of directors and our team, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you, guys.